What's up, YouTube? So I think I'm going to be starting a new thing up on my channel again. I know I said this before, but I'm going to be doing weekly updates and then just weekly things that I find interesting because I've been doing a lot of research or just finding a lot of different text-to-speech things out there, and I'd like to share them with you guys because I think they're interesting. With that, I want to jump into the web UI that I've been working on for StyleTTS. And so here we go. I edited the code to implement the dataset creation stuff. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the web interface. So this is the generation tab. It's not new from the previous video. I already had this completed for the most part, but I made some modifications for like voice models. You can choose voice models, so on and so forth. And the newest tab that I was working on was training. So I know I said I was going to be done about mid-July, maybe end of July. Looks like the timeline is closer to around end of July. And this is like the prepare dataset thing that you would see inside of, let's say, the AI voice cloning repository for Tortoise. So I basically just copy and pasted that into here, modified it just a little bit, and still need to add one additional thing. So that'll be in the works. And then I've got the StyleTTS generate configuration tab complete. For the most part, I want to make it look prettier so that it's not just a bunch of text boxes where you have to enter it in. And then I still need to create a tab for run training, but this should be pretty simple. I think the way that I'm going to do it is just have it call to a batch script and run training that way instead of implementing it into the code. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so far that's the biggest thing that I've been working on, which is StyleTTS. And in the background, I've just been looking at other types of systems out there. So that's what I want to go over right now. And the first is going to be VALL-E 2. So Microsoft's VALL-E, you might have seen this maybe like last year. They released a text-to-speech system that worked decently well, but now they've improved with a second iteration, which is their latest advancement, and they say it achieves human parity for this first time. So they did a couple of things for the model. I think what they've aimed to do the most is to make it more accurate in its speech so that it doesn't have repetition or it doesn't miss words. So let's take a listen to some of these difficult samples where it says VALL-E 2 can synthesize personalized speech, and we'll compare, VALL-E 1 versus VALL-E 2. So here's the speaker prompt.
A moment before, the ghost of the ancient kingdom of the Danes had looked forth through the vesture of the haze-wrapped city.
So that's the original speaker that it's going to try to clone. So let's listen to this sentence right here, read out loud in VALL-E and then VALL-E 2.
F2, F4F, hate, 16, H32H, 64. F1, F2, F4, F8, H16, H32, H64.
All right, and then one more sample.
Sad snakes, sadly, sad sighs. Sad snakes, sadly sighed, sad sighs.
So VALL-E 2 performs better on difficult sentences where there may be repetitions, and so that seems to be the biggest thing that they worked on. And then the zero shot is actually better than VALL-E as well. And let's take a listen to one of these samples.
There will be widespread support on all sides. We have to reduce the number of plastic bags. We have to reduce the number of plastic bags.
So there you go. There is a quick sample. And now this is just research code and a demonstration. However, luckily we have someone that has created a trainable VALL-E 2 model, and it's just a reproduction based on the code. So I was actually working on this sometime last week and started training up a model, but never kind of finished the model. I still need to finish training the model, but this might show some promise for a newer architecture to try to play around with, but I need to come to a conclusion on how good it is first. But yeah, let's take a listen to this sample right here that was uploaded to this repository.
The undertaking, which seemed so attractive when viewed as a literary task, proved to be a most difficult one. At times, it became oppressive.
The undertaking, which seemed so attractive when viewed as a literary task, proved to be a most difficult one, and at times it became oppressive.
So it sounds really good in my opinion. According to the author, however, it doesn't produce out of data audio as well. So speakers that it's never seen, like zero-shot voice cloning, doesn't perform as well. So that was just something that I read from the author. But I've got to play around more with VALL-E 2 just to see how good it is. And maybe some updates on that will come later. Now, I've been looking at a lot of the stuff coming out of Microsoft, and it's pretty cool. They've got a lot of research in this text-to-speech area coming out. They also released this VALL-E R paper before VALL-E 2, then they released Mel-E. So these things came out in like 2 weeks within each other. And so this Mel-E, they say, is supposed to be a little bit better than VALL-E 2, and it generates Mel spectrograms directly from text instead of having to convert text audio into tokens, then decode that into like a spectrogram, and then use a vocoder to come out of that. It just generates the spectrogram and then uses a vocoder to turn it back into audio. So it takes away that intermediary step. And I said a little bit earlier, they say that this is a little bit better than VALL-E 2. So let's take a listen to a quick sample here.
Unc knocked at the door of the house, and a chubby, pleasant-faced woman dressed all in blue opened it and greeted the visitors with a smile. Unc knocked at the door of the house, and a chubby, pleasant-faced woman dressed all in blue opened it and greeted the visitors with a smile.
So I think these are both are pretty good, and maybe we'll see an implementation of this in the future. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I believe it's also faster because it doesn't have that intermediary step. But I think they say that somewhere in the paper and not on their demonstration page. They've also come out with some other stuff that's a little bit more interesting for me, and I wish was a little bit more worked on, or there was an adaptation for it. So one bit of research that I went over before was Elate, and this is basically allowing a model to laugh given a sample audio. So here's an example of some laughter.
That's funny.
So basically what it's able to do is take in a speaker's prompt, a laughter prompt, and then you incorporate text, and then it combines kind of both of those two. So this was Elate. This is a little bit older research, but something else came out, which is called TTS, Microsoft, and this was released recently. It's Emo Control TTS. So this was released recently, which can generate emotional speech with laughter and crying. And it's not just those two, it's able to reproduce anger and all of that pretty good. So let's take a listen to some of the samples from here. I thought this research is pretty cool and wish that some type of model like this was also released open source or reproduced. So let's listen to the audio prompt. Beware, it is going to be pretty loud if you're wearing headphones because it's an angry voice.
Kids are talking by the door.
Kids are talking by the door.
And then so here is a voice box.
Dogs are sitting by the door. Dogs are sitting by the door.
And then here's Emo Control TTS.
Dogs are sitting by the door.
Dogs are sitting by the door.
So the reason that voice box is in here, which is research from Meta, is because it's kind of the same flow matching text-to-speech style. And this is just work built upon that. And so there are some other things down here. Let's go to this. Let's go to the laughter area. This is what I'm a little bit more interested in. And so, for example, we have an audio prompt in Chinese, and the generated audio can be converted into, let's say, English. So I can see this being particularly useful for redubbing. And this is the biggest application that I think that I'm excited for when this research gets replicated. And so let's take a listen to this bottom one here.
你先把你这份打开先看看。
And then let's take a listen to Emo Control TTS.
You take a look at your share first.
So there's that, and then we've got crying speech generation. So let's go ahead and listen to this audio prompt here.
私たちのチームは今日大敗した。私は自分が足を引っ張ってしまったことをとても悔しく思う。
Alright, and then Emo TTS.
Our team suffered a huge defeat today. I deeply regret holding everyone back.
Not exactly one-to-one in my opinion, but it's still pretty good. Let's take a listen to one more.
昨日弟が海で溺死してしまった。私は悲痛な気持ちで一晩中泣き続けた。
And then emo TTS.
My brother drowned in the sea yesterday. I cried all night in grief.
Alrighty, so I think this research is pretty cool and really want to see it implemented into open source or someone to replicate it. This would be pretty dang cool. Once again, Microsoft won't implement this or release it to the public, so we'll have to see if anyone is able to replicate this and release it. I do think it will be pretty hard because you need 27. This was trained on 27,000 hours of expressive data, and I don't know where that would be found at, but you know, we'll have to see as more data sets get released and as more things become open source. We should be able to see this within maybe like a year or two. And then one more thing on the singing voice side of stuff. I want to take a look at this sample right here, or this research that came out. And this is one thing that I've been recently interested in more recently. And that is text to song. And this is, you can imagine, like Suno Chirp or Udio, those AI song generation softwares. I haven't seen anything that is local or anything that's open source local, and so we've got some of the examples here. We'll just go through one of these. This is in Chinese, so unfortunately I don't understand it, but we can still take a listen to it and see if the quality is good. So they've got a couple of ways that they do generations with this. So there's one where you have the singing vocals and then the instrumentals plus a prompt to song. And then the one that we're going to listen to today is just going to be lyrics to song, as this is closest to like what you would do with Suno Chirp. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the Ground Truth song. And then the vocals. And then generated song. So definitely unconditioned and random for this generation. So way different from the Ground Truth, which was on the left side here. But it doesn't sound bad to me, but I don't understand Chinese, so I don't know how bad it was. And then actually we will listen to one of the guided ones. So here we have lyrics, melody prompts, reference vocals, and accompany prompts. And so I believe the way that this is inferencing is that it takes a melody prompt, it takes the lyrics are right here, it takes the accompaniment prompt, and then it takes in a reference vocal to generate the song. So accompaniment is just instrumentals. And so we'll listen to the Ground Truth song, which is the original song, and then we'll listen to the generated song here. So here is the original song. Here are the reference vocals. And then we'll listen to the generated song. So you can see that the male voice actually just, it sounded like it turned into like a falsetto version of the vocal and was much higher, but the quality it's still pretty impressive in my opinion. So maybe we'll see something like this in English get released somewhere along the line. But as of now, this is also just a demo, so yeah. Alrighty, so those were some things that I've found interesting over these past couple of weeks, and what I've been working on, which is that StyleTTS WebUI, and then some other things. But for the most part, that is gonna be it. I want to try, like I said earlier in the video at the beginning, that doing this weekly so that I can have some updates and content for you guys. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that's going to be it for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching. Once again, I'd like to thank the members of my channel for supporting me. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.